Today we're talking about Jack Frost from 1997. Is it awesome or awful? We're about to find out. Hey, this is Mike from FearShop.com. Today we are talking Jack Frost 1997. Is it awesome or awful? We're going to figure that one out today. We're going to weigh the awesome elements versus the awful elements. We're going to count them up and see which side has more points. And then we're going to come out with a verdict on whether or not Jack Frost is indeed awesome or awful. Before we do that breakdown, make sure you're liking this video and make sure you're subscribing to the channel. Smash that like button for me. Make sure you set up some notifications so you know when the next video drops. We're dropping a couple videos a week right now. I want to know what kinds of videos you want to see. I've been really having a lot of fun with these awesome or awful series videos, so been doing a bunch of them. To me they're really fun. It gives me a chance to go back and maybe watch some guilty pleasures, go back with a fresh perspective and really look at films in a black and white type of a manner. I point out a lot of things that maybe sometimes I'd overlook when I think about movies. For some of the films that I go through, they're films I haven't really watched in maybe a decade or even more at times. Some films I probably haven't watched since I was a kid, so I go back and I'm like, whoa, what the hell was I smoking when I was watching that? I have a lot of fun with them, and I hope you do too. But definitely start listing some movies you'd like to see in this series. Or if you want to see me doing a deep dive or any types of top 10 lists, I'm honestly just down for anything horror related. I just enjoy talking about it. Really enjoy digging into things. Bit of a horror nerd. So just love doing it. Alright, so Jack Frost, 1997. After an accident that left murderer Jack Frost dead in genetic material, the vengeful killer returns as a murderous snowman to exact his revenge on the man who sent him to be executed. You can probably tell this right from the synopsis. This is a very B movie. You got a killer snowman who comes to life. It is a Christmas horror-related movie. The accident takes place a week before Christmas. We are in the town. It's all decorated for Christmas. So, love me some holiday-themed horror. And this is, one of those Christmas horrors. There's definitely a fair amount of Christmas-themed horrors. But in my eyes, can never have too much. Whether it's holiday themed, whether it's just general horror, just love it all. All right, so there was a sequel, Jack Frost 2: Revenge of the Mutant Killer Snowman. That was released in 2000, 3 years after this original. A third installment was planned with the tentative title of Jack Frost 3: The Last Coming, but hopes of a sequel being made are unlikely because of the death of Christopher Allport in 2008. Director Michael Cooney said the third installment was going to have a giant Jack climbing a skyscraper, set to be 10 years later with the kid having grown up in that movie. If you watch the second movie, it started to alluding to maybe Jack becoming a giant. So, interesting movie. Let's see where we stand with the original Jack Frost movie. So, before we do get into it, you have to take Jack Frost with a grain of salt. Not only this movie, but the sequel as well. So, let's talk about the awesome elements of Jack Frost. First and foremost, this is the film debut of Shannon Elizabeth. So, we get to see her in this movie. She is an early character. Let's say she probably has a fairly iconic scene with the snowman as well. Spoiler alert, she does die in this scene. I love watching Shannon Elizabeth. She's good whether it's in a comedy movie or whatever. She's just interesting, and she's on the eyes as well. Another awesome element, this is a slasher movie. I know that this is a lame, awesome item, but I'll take a slasher movie any day of the week and twice on Sunday. Another awesome element. An interesting idea for a horror comedy. Again, you have to take it with a grain of salt. We've had, Abominable Snowman and all that thing before. This was definitely different. It felt like an 80s movie, filmed in the late 90s. Can't believe something like this didn't exist before this time. But, it is an interesting idea. I'll give them that. Unfortunately, that is all my awesome bullet points. So let's get into the awful elements of the movie. Most of the jokes are bad. This is one of those films with cheesy one-liners. I wish I could say there were at least some good ones. Maybe there was a little bit here and there, but the majority of the jokes are bad. This is one of those films that is supposed to be a horror comedy, and there's very little comedy to be found. Another awful element is the snowman costume. If they made the costume look like the poster, I think you would have been, playing with something there. The poster is great. Probably the main reason that people had watched this film from the outset. You really didn't know anybody in the movie. Again, Shannon Elizabeth, nobody knew who she was at the time, so they wouldn't have watched it for her. So basically they were like, wow, that's a pretty wicked looking snowman. But then you see the movie, and it's bad. I don't know how else to really put it. All right, another awful element. The villain channels a little too much Chucky, and that's not really a good thing. I'm on the fence about Chucky. I think some of the Child's Play movies are decent. Most of them are marginal. Some of them are laughable. But I just think the Snowman or Jack Frost borrows a little too much from the Chucky side of things. Another awful element. You remember Shannon Elizabeth because she's hot and she became well known, but you remember no one else from the movie after watching it. This is one of those movies I will watch and then a month later try to remember people's faces, and I pretty much just remember Shannon Elizabeth, which is not really a good sign when you have characters that are that forgettable. Another awful element. The worst fake snow in history. You're in a town that's, preparing for Christmas, and you have what basically just looks like cotton balls all over the place. It is so bad. All right, so that's all the awful elements. I'm kind of surprised. I was a little light on awesome, and I was even a little light on awful elements. So maybe I was taking a little easy on this one. But the verdict on Jack Frost is that it is indeed awful. While Jack Frost is meant to be fun, I'll admit that I do not hate the movie. I watch it every once in a while. The sequel's worse. And I hate to say it again, but take the film with a grain of salt and you may enjoy it. I don't know that I've ever really heard anybody say, yeah, that's a 10 out of 10. But, people will watch the movie every once in a while and be like, all right. I don't feel like I completely wasted my time. So, if you haven't seen the film, watch it. Let me know what you think. I probably haven't exactly given you guys too much of a reason to run out and watch it if you haven't. But, then again, it wasn't all bad. Just because we call a movie awful in this video series doesn't mean that I won't watch it again. I'll tell you right now, I will watch it again. I'll probably still watch it again this year when we get into the winter season. It's just the way I am. I watch a lot of movies over and over, some of which really don't deserve it. But in the comments below, let me know what you think about Jack Frost. What are some of the awesome parts? What are some of the awful parts? Let me know what you think about Jack Frost and the sequel. Is Jack Frost awesome or is it awful? Let me know what you think about that. So that wraps this one up. I want to hear from you. Post your thoughts on this video. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you share this video. Make sure you subscribe. But most of all, make sure you keep it hard.